So welcome everyone to the Career Connect with Randstad, and we'll have a session maximizing your online profiles. I'll be your host. My name is John Korusek, a business services from the Office of Community Wealth Building. My email is john.korusek@richmondgov.com. That's john.korusek@richmondgov, all one word, .com. Go ahead and take this time to mute your lines. If you're on the phone, you want to mute your line with the mute button. If you are on the computer and you're looking at this in a video, you want to move your cursor to see the taskbar, and then you can click mute. So go ahead and do that now. Let's wait till the end of the Randstad presentation. In my presentation, I will have 2 times for questions and comments. 1 time after Randstad talks about their current company openings, and then 1 time after the online profiles presentation. So Randstad was founded in 1960, and their headquarters are in the Netherlands. There's industry with human services. They're staffing professionals. They search and selection, HR solutions, in-house services, and payroll services are their specialties. In 2019, they had about 280,000 clients. They also trained about 350,000, and they got 2 million people jobs in 2019. And they have almost 51,000 employees on LinkedIn. Their website is RandstadUSA.com. It's RandstadUSA.com. And we have 2 of those employees with us right now. Let's welcome from Randstad, the Richmond, Virginia site managers, Jessica Vaughn and Brittany Carneal. And Jessica, you're up first. So go ahead and give your contact information. She has openings in Sanson, and she's going to go over that information, and then Brittany will be second up talking about the openings in Prince George.
Thank you, John. So as he said, my name is Jessica Vaughn. I am an on-site manager with Randstad at a site we have out in Sanson, Virginia. My email address is jessica.vaughn@randstadusa.com. It's JESSICA.VAUGHAN@RandstadUSA.com. And then my phone number for contact is going to be 804-991-8137. Right now, or at my site, we hire production line workers. That is the role that all of my employees fill. There is no other roles in our warehouse that we fill right now. It's just the production line workers. My employees basically fill a packing aspect. So we are located in Sanson. We work 8-hour shifts. It's always an 8-hour shift. We work with ink cartridges that go into printers at people's homes. And basically it's a fast-paced environment. My employees stand at a line that goes by in front of them. As the conveyor belt goes by, it has bins on it, and my employees take the ink cartridges and they set them in the bins as the line goes by. However, they need to be oriented. On some lines, we work in big teams. Some lines, it's just single-person teams. So there's a little bit of variation in the product and how it's placed on each line. But very straightforward, 8 hours, needing to be standing for those 8 hours. We do have, the 2 breaks in there as well.
Jessica, your next slide is about the requirements.
Yes. So we do prefer 6 months of general warehouse experience. With that said, though, this is more of an entry-level position. So it's nice to have that 6 months of experience just to know the warehouse environment and safety that goes along with that. But entry-level, so we do take people that don't quite meet that 6 months. It's not, it's preferred. It's not necessarily required. You have to be able to work quickly around moving parts. Safety conscious. Safety is a huge, huge deal in this warehouse. That is our number one priority, is everybody's safety. And then you have to be flexible with rotating for different lines throughout your shift. So a lot of my employees throughout one shift may work on 3 different lines. It all depends on that day, but being flexible and able to work different lines is key.
Jessica, just go over some of your benefits.
Of course. So we do offer flexible scheduling. Like I said, it's always an 8-hour shift, but we use a scheduling tool called Shiftboard, and my employees week by week pick their own shifts or their own days. So if you were on first shift, you would go in for the next week and pick whichever days you wanted to work, whether that be Monday through Friday, or perhaps you want to use this as a part-time. You could pick just 3 days every week, 2 days, however many days is going to fit your schedule best. So it's good for people that already have jobs and want a supplemental income, or maybe people that are in school right now that especially are a little bit more flexible with everything that's going on since it's online classes. They're able to manipulate their schedule how they need to as far as the days go to complement their schedules.
And then just talk about the shifts and the pay rate.
Sure. So our first shift is going to be our morning shift. It is Monday through Friday. Starts at 7:30 a.m., goes until 3:30 p.m. We pay $10 for that shift. Second shift is going to be our evening shift, also a Monday through Friday shift. Starts at 3:30 p.m. and goes until 11:30 p.m. That shift has a 35-cent differential for it, so $10.35. And then our third shift is going to be our overnight shift. Now this one goes from Sunday to Thursday. Starts at 11:30 p.m. and goes until 7:30 a.m. And then that one is also $10.35, so has that 35-cent differential for it.
All right, and Jessica, just give us your information one more time, and we'll do this again at the end for folks that might not have heard it at the very beginning.
Sure. So the best way to contact me for interest, by the way, is going to be at my email address. Just shoot me an email with your name and information. So that email again is going to be Jessica, JESSICA .Vaughn, VAUGHAN at RandstadUSA.com, and Randstad is spelled RANDSTAD Phone number, if it's easier for you to use a phone number to call and leave a voicemail or to shoot a text over to me, the phone number is going to be 804-991-8137.
All right, and just hang out. We're going to get to you at the end again for questions. We're going to bring up Brittany. And Brittany, you have a couple of openings in Prince George. But before you take it away with your openings, we're going to do the general picker utility first. Go ahead and give your contact information, and then we'll go into your openings.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Brittany Carneal. I'm the site manager for one of our sites that we have in Prince George, which is also near Disputana. My email address is brittany.carneal@randstadusa.com. That's BRITTANY.Carneal, CARNEAL at Randstad, RANDSTAD USA randstadrecruitment.com. And my phone number is 804-991-0266. At our site, we work for a large warehouse. It's a distribution center, and they have products for all auto parts there. So during this time, we are considered an essential business. We have warehouses that rely on us to supply them with product, and we also supply little stores like Advanced Auto Parts, Pep Boys, O'Reilly, with product as well. That is also in conclusion with our mom and pop shops that work on cars. So we are considered an essential business at this time. Some shifts that we would normally, or positions that we normally would staff for, would be a picker or a general utility worker. We also have packers and we have forklift operators. But speaking about pickers and utility workers, they pull auto parts using an RF barcode scanner or a wireless headset. Pickers for us are also called order fillers. So you may hear both terms used to describe this job. Basically from there, you are going to walk through the warehouse and fill the customer orders. So how I mentioned earlier about Pep Boys, O'Reilly, all those stores are ordering parts so that they can put them out on the shelves to sell. And you would be filling the orders for those shops. Any utility type position that we have really could be a variety of jobs. We have about 30 job titles in the facility. So in order to keep John from writing all of those out, we just kind of put them as a utility type position. So that can kind of cover a little bit of everything from receiving to bagging to auditing. Anytime you're using the RF scan gun to palletize or check orders that are going out to the customer, that's all considered utility type positions. We also have a group that also look at returned auto parts and sort them based on if they can be either resold or destroyed.
Brittany, go ahead and give us some requirements for the picker utility position.
So we usually look for at least 6 months of general warehouse experience. Obviously, some people may not have that, and that's okay. It is an entry-level job, so to speak, but you do have to be willing to work in the warehouse condition, which our warehouse, unlike Jessica's warehouse, is not climate controlled. So meaning when the summer hits, it is very hot in our warehouse. We do not have air conditioning. We do have fans, but it does get pretty warm in there. We do like for you to have scan gun experience. Again, that's not a requirement. The scan gun is usually pretty easy to pick up. The same with the voice headset. We do ask that you're able to lift repetitively, especially in that utility type position. Pickers normally are picking orders or picking items, and the boxes are relatively small. So you're picking up something that may be the size of your cell phone, maybe the size of a bottled drink or something like that, and may range in weight from 5 to 10 pounds per box. But if you get 5 or 10 of those items in one big box, that can go up to 50 pounds. So we do ask that you're able to lift it throughout the shift. And obviously, if you're not able to ask for help, that kind of thing, so you can get a team lift. And that you're able to stand or work for 8 to 10 hours, again, in a non-climate controlled warehouse, working consistently because we do have production.
All right, go ahead, Brittany, and give us some shifts for that position and the pay rate for that position, or the pay range.
Sure. So the picker is a little bit more job specific, or it's definitely a little bit more of knowledge that you have to know or learn. So that one's going to be on the higher end of the. So when I say first shift is from $12.50 to $13 an hour, the picker is going to be on the $13 side, and the utility worker is going to be on the $12.50 side. So first shift for us runs 6:30 to 4. That is Monday through Friday. And then second shift runs 4:30 p.m. to 2 o'clock a.m. Monday through Friday. The second shift is $13 and $13.50 an hour. So again, the $13 would be that utility, and the $13.50 would be the picker, or the order filler. That does not include mandatory Saturday overtime. If they do call for Saturday overtime, it is required, and they're either going to call a 5 or an 8-hour shift.
All right, so Brittany, the next position that we have is the forklift operator. So if you could speak a little bit about the standing forklift operator position.
Sure. So for our standing forklift operator, we are looking specifically for anyone who has operated either a reach truck, which would be a stand-up reach truck, or a cherry picker, which for us could be called stock pickers, order pickers, or the OP. They could be called dead man lift, things like that, different terms for the word cherry picker, but cherry picker is usually what they're called. Basically, that's where you're harnessed in and you go up with the forks into the air, and you actually pick product out of the racks for your customer orders. So those are the two types of forklifts that we staff for. Anyone that operates a pallet rider, we don't pay forklift pay for that. That is something that's considered a utility type job. But I do have some other opportunities that I was made aware of earlier this week that actually might work for them in the same area. So if you've ever operated a pallet rider before, that's something that we can talk about separately. But basically for this particular warehouse, it's cherry picker and reach truck only. And you have to be able to have worked on it for 6 months in the last year and a half. So 6 months between this time last year, 6 months. So I would say January or December of 2019 or 2018 is when you have to have worked on it. And that's pretty much it for stand-up forklift.
What about the hours and the pay rate?
So that is going to be the shifts are going to be the same as what I mentioned earlier. So 6:30 to 4 and then 4:30 to 2. The only difference is the pay rate. So if you are interested in this position and you have the required experience, it's $14.50 on day shift and $15 on night shift. So keeping in mind, if you work a full Monday through Friday shift with us, plus Saturday overtime, you're looking at overtime every week, which would obviously be time and a half for anything over 40. Ours is not like Jessica's site. Jessica's site is you can pick and choose which days you want to work. Like she mentioned, they use an app called Shiftboard. Ours is going to be a set schedule. So if you have a second job or something like that, we don't make schedule arrangements for that. You would have to be able to work every single day listed Monday through Friday with the Saturday overtime if it's called.
All right, great. And could you give your contact information one more time? And we will again have this at the end after our question part as well for both you and Jessica. But if you could just give that one more time.
Sure. Yeah. So my email address is probably the best way to reach me right now, just because I am in and out of the office. So my email is going to be my first and last name. So Brittany, BRITTANY .Carneal, CARNEAL @RandstadUSA.com. And Randstad is spelled RANDSTAD, USA.com. My phone number is available. You can shoot me a text if you feel that that's easier. But I will communicate for you to send me an email at that point, and I will ask for your email, and I'll kind of start the process from there. You can send me a text at 804-991-0266.
Okay, great. Thank you, Brittany.
Yeah.
So we went over 3 positions. Jessica went over the production line workers for Sandston, the information for that. And then Brittany went over the information for picker utility and the standing forklift operator in Prince George. So we're going to open it up for questions for Jessica and Brittany for Randstad. If you'll please unmute your lines. To unmute, if you're on the phone, you just want to click the unmute button. If you are on the computer, you want to hover over your cursor to see the taskbar and then click unmute that way. So we're going to open up for questions at this time. Any questions out there for Jessica or Brittany?
I have a question, John. This is Derek.
Sure, Derek.
Yeah. Of course, with the COVID-19 scenario and not just being as accessible potentially for our participants. Is the application process, is it more online now, or is there some type of virtual type of thing that you all are doing to help our folks to connect with your organization to line themselves with some of these potential opportunities?
Yes, we
Go
are.
ahead, Brittany.
We are doing everything pretty much online for the first half of the process. So we would ask that, again, that you give us an email address so that we can kick off the onboarding section that allows you to put your personal information in for taxes, how you want to get paid, that kind of information. And then from there, Jessica and I are both hosting virtual orientations. Mine is actually pre-recorded, so I would send it to you in an email, and you would be able to watch the recording and answer some questions after your background check has come back. And then from there, starting at the site is pretty simple. We are listed as an essential business, so we are still open. The business has slowed down a little bit, but we still anticipating starting people within the next couple weeks. And that's usually how long it takes to get through the process. So by then you would come into the site on your first day and you would complete the drug test, which we require you complete. And then at that point you would be able to go to work. That's the process for me. Jessica, does yours vary from that at all?
No, it's pretty much the same thing. Phone interview, electronic onboarding. Once the background comes back in, I do a virtual orientation as well. Mine is not pre-recorded, but we do it. It's a video conferencing type thing. And then once you're done with that, we bring you on site, do a drug screen, and then we set you up with your start date and all of that. But same time frame from my side as well, 2 weeks or so to get some people started.
Okay, and one other question. Will the new employees or the new candidates, would they be confined to bringing their own PPE equipment, or will that type of stuff be provided to them once they actually are able to start their position?
So my site, I provide our regular PPE, which would be safety glasses, safety vests, and gloves. They are required to wear steel toe boots or shoes at my warehouse. We do not provide those, so they would have to get a pair of shoes that are steel toe to start working. And then as far as COVID-19 related PPE, we are providing face masks and gloves and doing temperature checks each start of shift as people come in.
Okay, thank you.
Our warehouse in Prince George, this is Brittany. Our warehouse in Prince George does not require any PPE, so to speak, as far as gloves, vests, goggles. We do require all leather shoes, but they do not have to be steel toe. And we are doing the same as well. We are giving out masks to be worn. They are mandatory. And then we are also doing temperature checks. You would stay in the vehicle and get your temperature checked before you actually parked your car in the morning before your shift or in the evening for second shift.
All right, great. Thank you, Derek. Are there any other questions out there for Brittany and Jessica from Randstad? And just some general questions that are normally asked, Brittany and Jessica, both companies are not on the bus line. That's correct?
Correct.
That's correct.
Okay. And then also, a question that sometimes people will ask is the background check process. Could you go into a little bit about the background check while people think of maybe some other questions they might have?
Sure. So Jessica and our sites both follow Randstad's rule, obviously. We go back 7 years on the background check, and Randstad does not allow any felonies. So in that time frame, no felonies would be allowed if it's within the 7 years. Now, both of our sites are a little bit more stricter when it comes to certain other background requirements. Speaking for the site that we have in Prince George, we go back 5 years as well for any misdemeanors. So any misdemeanors that deal with theft or violence would not be allowed. So anything including embezzlement or check fraud or anything like that, that would be considered theft. And then violence would be anything of the nature of assault and battery or domestic violence. Jessica's does range a little bit more, so I'm going to let her speak on the misdemeanors that she does not allow at her site.
So all of what she just said, we look for to include, we go back 7 years, felonies and misdemeanors at my site. Other misdemeanors would be anything drug related. I know she said theft already, embezzlement. Any crimes against another person is considered, anything violent or involving weapons.
Okay, good. Thank you. Are there any other questions out there for Jessica or Brittany? All right, I'm just going to ask one more. And if there's no other questions after that, Jessica and Brittany, we'll let you guys go and get into our initial discussion that we're going to have after you guys leave us today. But we appreciate you guys being here. We talked a lot about the starting pay, the pay rate, the job description, and the requirements and the benefits and stuff like that. What is like a company career path with you guys at one of these warehouses? Is there a way to increase in pay or move up to other positions within those companies that you're working with or within Randstad as the organization? How does that work?
So I'll go first. Mine's a little simpler than Brittany's. My employees have to work for me for 520 hours first, and then they become eligible to apply to become permanent with my client. So it's not an automatic transition over, and they do have to step up into the next role, which would be a machine operator. They could also, if they have any kind of maintenance or forklift, go into either of those. But you have to hit that 520 hours first, and you have to apply and go through the interview process with my client as well.
Mine is a little bit different. So at the warehouse in Prince George, if you are interested in going permanent, we kind of do it with Randstad in different waves. So when you enter, I mentioned those pay rates earlier, starting at as low as $12.50 and going up to $15, depending on the position and the shift. Depending on exactly what path you're interested. So if you're interested in going permanent, or if you are interested in just working with us until you find your next career move, everyone starts at those pay rates. And then from there, if your job is on production, which I mentioned earlier, most jobs are on production. You would then, after you make your production for 4 weeks in a row, you'll be eligible for a 50-cent increase. So you would take your starting pay rate and add 50 cents. And then from there, our next step or wave would be the third and final, and that would be getting hired on permanent by Standard Motors. From there, you would get another 50-cent increase, and you would begin the process with going permanent. So you would have to then get the drug test taken again. You would have to get your background check ran again. This would all be obviously sponsored by the client. And then from there, you are brought on with them. I was there at the site today, and I actually just brought on 2 employees from us that the client has chosen to hire permanent. So we bring people on pretty frequently at my site versus Jessica's site. And they can be brought on for whatever role it is that they are in currently. So whether it's a picker or order filler, or a forklift operator, you can be brought on in that role.
Okay, great. Thank you. Was there anyone else out there that had any questions for Brittany and Jessica? Don't forget to unmute your line just on your cell phone to hit unmute and hover over the taskbar if you're on the computer to click the unmute on the screen. Any more questions going once? Going twice? All right, 3 times a lady. Go ahead and give us your contact information, Jessica, and then Brittany one more time. And then if you guys want to go, or you can stay on the line for our initial discussion.
Alrighty. So one more time, my email address is going to be Jessica, JESSICA .Vaughn, VAUGHAN @RandstadUSA.com. Randstad is spelled RANDSTAD, and then USA.com. And then my phone number again, 804-991-8137. And then I'm the site manager for the warehouse in Sandston.
And my name is Brittany Carneal. I'm the site manager for the site that we have in Prince George, or the Disputana area, off of 460. My phone number is 804-991-0266. It is a cell phone number, so I prefer a text message. And then my email address is brittanycarneal @randstadusa.com. So that is spelled BRITTANY .CARNEAL @RANDSTADUSA.com.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Jessica and Brittany, for being my guinea pigs for my first company to come on our virtual session here at Microsoft Teams with the Office of Community Wealth Building. I hope you guys had a good time today talking about your opening positions with Randstad. We thank you so much.
Thank you. You guys have a good day.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to get into the initial discussion about maximizing your online company profiles. And the following presentation is just a portion taken from a larger presentation that I created called Robot Resume to Beat the ATS System. So we'll take a look at resumes and online profiles from a robot's perspective, from the automatic tracking systems, or what most human resources refer to as screening software. And over the last few weeks, we've been taking a look at this PowerPoint. I've broken it down into 3 sessions. So this will be the 3rd and final session for this particular presentation. I'm John Korusek, also known as DJ Johnny Bravo. I have 10 years in workforce development. I've taught workshops on networking, robot resume, social media, emerging workforce strategies, and targeted recruitment. I've conducted 275 recruitment events with 275 companies in the south side of Richmond, with the Office of Community Wealth Building at 2 career stations at the south side and Huguenot community centers, and just completed my first virtual event with Randstad on the Microsoft Teams. So how you maximize your online profiles: by correctly completing company online profiles, you should start online. Most job seekers, when they write their resume, they are writing it for a person and not the ATS or the applicant tracking software or the screening software. basically the computer has managed a lot of that process even before COVID. When you have 1,000 candidates that notice a job opening, they'll notice that posting, whether it be in somebody's office, on a piece of paper, through a virtual event like this, online. They will notice that job posting. 1,000 people will apply. Then what happens is 200 people begin that applicant process. So basically 1,000 people see it and 800 get tired or whatever happens to them, they fall off, and about 200 people actually complete the process. Then 100 people will complete the application process. So some of them will begin, but 100 will actually complete. So then another 100 people are knocked off for whatever reason, and start to complete the application process. This is when the automatic tracking system kicks in. It starts to screen resumes for the keywords, relevant experience. For instance, if a biotech firm is hiring a statistician, it may disqualify those who call themselves numerator moderators. So you want to position yourself for the position with the correct information and the correct job title. This part right here, the automatic tracking system managed part, is equals to about 98% of the candidates reviewed. So even before COVID, 98% of what they were doing is managed by the online tracking systems, or the automatic tracking systems, or the screening software, or as I refer to as the robot. The second part of the process is managed by the human. So the human, or the HR managers, usually screen from about those 100 candidates that actually finish the application process down to about 25 candidates, down to one. And a lot of people, like we talked about last week, think about HR as a department. It is a department at most companies. However, just because it's a department, most companies have one HR person. So that is the reason for screening software. That is the reason for automatic tracking systems, because that person does not have enough time to call back 100 applicants per every position that they're looking at, or sometimes upwards of 1,000 or more, depending on the company. And we took a look at that last week with Google getting 70,000 resumes. We took a look at Yahoo getting 12,000 resumes, one resume for every person they have in their company. Approximately 25 applications are reviewed by the hiring manager, and then phone interviews are usually conducted by HR staff, or in some cases, the automated tracking system will send out an email. If you basically get an email right after you've applied for the company, most of the times you probably did not meet the criteria for the automatic tracking system. It usually takes a few days for that email to get sent to you with an assessment tab or more questions that you will be required to commit to. Just because you get that one email automatically does not always mean that you have not been selected. What happens a lot of times is you saw the numbers that were computer controlled, and now you're seeing the numbers that are human controlled. You want to return those emails. You want to set up a separate email for any and all related job that you're applying for, because you don't want to miss any of these emails that the companies are sending, because some of them have important information. And like you heard Brittany and Jessica allude to, they're sending some different things now, like your not only your screening in your documents and e-signing and verifying, and but they're also sending stuff that they would normally do with a group of people. So make sure that you're checking your email. Applicants who pass this stage, usually 4 to 6 candidates are invited for the interview opening. 1 to 3 go through the final steps of the application process, and then 1 person is usually offered the position. That could vary. Sometimes it could be 1 to 3, sometimes it could be 4 to 6, depending on the company and how many they usually want to take a look at. Like Lowe's, for example, will want to take a look at 5. And we talked a lot about this last week as well. The the steps through this process and how you can better relate to getting through these steps. And the online process is part of that. So you want to start with your online profiles. And most people are going to be like, John, what is an online profile? Well, a lot of people will tell you to go straight to the company website and apply for a position. When you're applying for that position, you want to go to that company's website, but you have to create a profile. So when you're creating that profile, you have to do that for each and every company that you're applying for. So sometimes people will forget, hey, I've done one for Walmart, or hey, I've done one for CVS. They think it's the same login and the same everything information. It might be and it might not be. You are creating a different online profile for each and every company that you apply for, unless you're applying through Indeed or LinkedIn or something like that. Then that will use your information from LinkedIn or Indeed. But still, you want to pay attention to this presentation so you can get your information right, so you can better assist yourself in getting a position. I would think that most of us are doing this correctly. However, it only seems that 1 in 4 are making the cut. You guys saw the numbers. We get tired from 1,000 to basically a few hundred there, 200, and then you go from 200 to 100 that actually complete it. A lot of us get tired of the process for whatever reason. It is a process. It is an application process. It is a long process. You have to be prepared for that process. A lot of people want to, hop, skip, and jump into a job. It is work to get work. So we want to make sure we get that percentage up. So just 1 in 4 making the cut. We want more people to make that cut. You want to make sure that you completely fill out those online profiles. You don't want to leave any information out there that you could have filled out, because what happens is you fill that one out for Walmart, or you fill that one out for Lowe's, and you forgot. So then you come back and you go to apply for another position. You're using that one for Walmart or the Lowe's, and you're basically using that same one, and you haven't completed anything. You haven't changed anything. So you want to make sure that you change that information or update that information when you go back into that particular system. If you're tired or you don't have enough time, don't start. Come back later. Garbage that you put in only reaches garbage out. So you need to make sure whatever information that you're inputting is certain information. It doesn't magically appear. You need to do it right the first time. Forgetting certain information will not score you into the hiring process. You want to put that information in. You need to put that information in, or the person helping you needs to put that information in. That information doesn't magically appear, like I said. You want to make sure that information is each one of your online profiles. I will let you know this. I teach this information, but when I completed an online profile, I was looking for a job for 6 months. I had retail experience over 20 years, and I forgot to check one box that I was an American citizen. So for 6 months, I was not getting employment just by not checking that one box. So what you're inputting is what you're outputting. I could have gotten a job a lot quicker by making sure that I had filled the profile out completely. Normally, only 1 in 3 are qualified for the positions they seek, so that's a problem. You want to be qualified for the position that you seek. You want to read the job descriptions. A lot of people only spend about 50 seconds reading that job description before applying for the job. You need to take a look at that job description, dissect that job description, and if you're matching 75 to 80%, then you apply for the position. If you don't, then there's another position out there for you. It's better to apply for less positions. That's what I said, less positions instead of more positions, because that's going to be better for you to apply for less positions that you have a chance of getting than applying for more positions and wasting a company's time. So here's some online profile tips. Don't be a serial candidate, one who skims through those job descriptions and applies for every position that company has available. You want to get a clear understanding of the job and its qualifications by reading the job descriptions more than once. You want to get a clear indication of those job qualifications by reading the job descriptions more than once. You want to customize your approach for every opportunity, and you want to match your skills 75%. You want to customize your approach for every opportunity to match those skills 75 to 80% for your recent and relevant skills from the last 10 years, experience and education before you start the process. On resumes, you want to put that information and have all your current information from the last 10 years, and also on your online profiles using social media, using those white space, strong headings, and the short burst of information. This is a snapshot of what the recruiter sees in the applicant tracking software. You can see the missing information. You can see the missing keywords. You can see the partial information. You can see things that have not measured up to what the company is looking for. And before they go into this view, they see this view, and this is a breakdown of what the applicant tracking system shows them, steps in the hiring process. You can see who's been matched. You can see who's been contacted. You can see who's been scheduled for an interview. You can see all that information. You can see interview completed. You can see the people that are not qualified. This is the system that will help that employer to go through your online profile, your application process, your resume, and all that information. You want to utilize your technology. You want to start online. You want to take your time, and you want to get hired. So if there's any questions or comments, go ahead and unmute your lines. You can unmute your lines by hitting your unmute on your phone, or you can move the cursor over the taskbar to click unmute. Are there any questions out there? Any questions?
Hey, John, this is Anna from Commonwealth Catholic Charities. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Anna?
Good. So my question is, when you create an online profile, there's always this section about high school, and then I always put general studies. Is that should I put that or something else? You know, when you go on, put your education, it'll tell you what study. And I always type in general studies because there's no, right? I'm trying to.
Most of the time for high school, you're going to type in general studies. So that's what you're going to type in. But you know, if you went to a school, some people now go to a school with a certain, you know, they have a certain industry that they focus on. Like some schools, like, you know, will have, I can't think of, you know, the term right now, but, you know, they have different focuses at different high schools now. And you can put that on there. But if a lot of us that are, you know, upper in age there, you know, it's just general studies. That's a good question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions out there? Going once? Going twice? All right, 3 times. So go ahead and take your phone out and get you to take a picture of this next slide if you'd like to sign up for our mobile texting. So you can take a picture with your phone that's scannable there. It will get you to our mobile texting app where you can log in. That mobile texting will get you the latest information on jobs. They sent out the virtual webinars today and yesterday and other important information. Here's a look ahead for some virtual workshops. Basically, the morning sessions are at 10:15. The afternoon sessions are at 2:15. On Wednesday, 10:15, we have a workplace excellence adaptability tomorrow. We have community resources. That's been a pretty decent one during COVID. There's a lot of people that are in need of those community resources. So if you know folks that need that information, that's Thursday morning. And then working from home during COVID on Friday. We also have our business team that is doing some recruitment through virtual Microsoft Teams. The Compass Group will be tomorrow at 2:15 Wednesday. Also, we have the Results Company on Thursday. And then we have a social media. I believe that one might have been canceled, but it might still be available there. And I have a few more coming up. Care Advantage on the 21st at 2:15, Domino's Pizza on the 28th at 2:15, and Workforce Solutions on May 5th at 2:15. Here's our business team. I can't do this without my team behind me. Also, all my folks from OCWB, Office of Community Wealth. We have 3 business team members for business services. Boyd is usually located at the career station at Marshall Street. Lori is normally at the career station in the Easton on 25th, and I'm normally located between the South Side and Huguenot Community Centers in the South Side. Boyd's email is boyd, B-O-Y-D, Headley, Headley, at richmondgov.com. Lori's email is Lori, Lori, .payne at richmondgov.com. And I'm John, JOHN.KORUSEK at richmondgov.com. I appreciate you guys for your time today. That is the end of our session. So if there's any other questions or comments.